show me. And at the time, he showed me not in the way I wanted him to show me, but he took everything from me to where I had nothing but a Bible for many years. And it's like, David, I'm going to show you I'm real, but I got to take away these distractions from your life. And I'm so glad he did that. Now, but at the time, it wasn't the prayer I wanted answered. But yeah, so I call it my wilderness experience. I ended up losing my house, my job, my fiance, and my car all within a week. And went to this pastor and told him how depressed I was. I don't understand what's going on. I just asked the Lord if he was real to show me, and now everything's taken from me. And quoted some verses out of the Bible that made some sense of some things, and I said, okay. And he gave me his Bible, and I would read it here and there, and I really wanted to prove it to myself. Well, so I started reading more and more and seeking God's face, and it says, draw near to me, I'll draw near to you. The more I sought, the more God revealed. And I didn't want a blind faith. I wanted to know who God really was, not based off of what my parents told me, or not their examples or friends, but seeking you'll find. And so I got some things together spiritually and a little bit financially. Started paying off my criminal things, my probation and restitution fees, and some of you guys probably know what I'm talking about. And then I ended up getting things together, personal training in a gym, new fiance, job, car, and ended up losing everything a second time. And there were still some areas in my life where I was compromising with God. I hadn't fully surrendered. I wasn't doing drugs, I wasn't stealing, I wasn't doing home invasions, I wasn't doing more serious stuff, but there's just some areas in my life. I was still driving without a license. I was still, not tithing, certain things that were not completely, fully surrendered. And we got new management. I was working at LA Fitness. They just fired everybody. The lady I was with, she was not the best woman in the world, but so that ended, and just random things. A student driver hit me in a car. So the first time I lost everything was more from doing the criminal, stupid things I was doing. The second time was more haphazard, and so lost everything a second time. Okay, Lord, I'm going to do everything the right way. I don't care if it takes me the rest of my life to get my life together. I'm going to do it your way. And to this point, I'm tithing, and I'm still owing $6,000 for a license. I don't have, a car, nothing, and I'm like, I don't, I'm just going to be faithful regardless of if I don't even have anything. And little by little, the Lord starts to bless me and advance me through my giving and obedience, and I'm able to pay off my license. I end up being top trainer in all of Arizona and California for 2 years in a row at Choose Fitness, and said nobody in the history of the company ever did that for even a year. And I knew it was from my giving and obedience and stuff. And I just had the enemy every second on my back, trying to discourage me, of course. Like, are you sure you really want to serve God? And I remember I had my wallet stolen one time. I'm like, man, $200. I had $100 in food stamps, $100 in cash. And I'm like, trying to do the right thing here, and end up saying, well, I'm going to go to work anyways, as if I had my wallet. You're my provider. Go to work, and somebody random gives me $200. It's really crazy. But we end up saving up and buying a bicycle. I go, well, I'll get a bike. It'll keep me from being tempted, from driving without a license. Get some cardio in. Somebody steals that. So I'm like, if I see that dude, I'm going to tell him. I go, pray for your enemies. Bless those who curse you. Pray for the guy. Then somebody random just gives me another $200. Let's get a new bike. So as God was confirming, by the testimony of 2 to 3 witnesses, that he was the one who was taking care of me. The devil was definitely telling me he's going to do everything he could to squash me and keep me from fulfilling my God-given destiny. And so there's a temptation to definitely throw in the towel, So got everything together. Eventually, a third time, our fiance job, and ended up losing everything a third time. This time it was suffering for righteousness' sake. And I got fired from Choose for preaching the gospel. My wife's family hated me because I was a Christian, and they were into Satanism and all kinds of crazy things. But so they destroyed our relationship. Car, just random, but everything pretty much was taken for a good reason this time. And at this point I was so broken, I just didn't have any fight left. Like, all right, Lord, I'm talking to the Lord and I'm saying, well, Lord, even Job only lost everything once. I wasn't lying in an ash heap scraping myself with a piece of pottery. He probably had it a lot worse that one time, but it was tough. And anyways, I end up opening up my Bible and definitely not feeling like reading. I felt like the woman who was subject to bleeding for 20 years, and she's like, if I could just touch the hem of his garment, if I could just open the Bible, see what God says before the enemy tries to speak to me. That's all it takes is that mustard seed sometimes. But so first thing I start reading is, I read it many, many times, but this time it spoke personally to me, was the Apostle Paul, where he said that because of these surpassingly great revelations he was getting, there was a thorn in his side, a messenger of Satan to torment him. 3 times he pleaded with the Lord to take it from him. He said, not so, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my power is made perfect in weakness. So God spoke directly to me and told me, you don't think that you can get up again and do it again. My grace is sufficient. And it hit me really hard, and I was like, okay, Lord, at least you're still speaking. So anyways, I go to the gym that day, which is another thing I did not feel like doing. I was like, not feeling like working out. So I'm working out, and I tell this brother in the Lord what's going on. I think I met him one other time, so I'm just telling this random stranger my story. I guess I just needed to tell somebody what was going on. He goes, like the Apostle Paul, 3 times he pleaded with the Lord. Okay, you're talking to me. By the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. And so it was interesting because me and my wife, we were totally, she was my fiance at the time. She's my wife now. So the Lord redeemed it. But we were totally not talking, and maybe a month or 2 we didn't talk. Finally, it was just very cordial, like, hey, did you get some of my stuff? Did you get some of your stuff? Hope you're doing well. And first time we talked in 2 months. And I'm driving as I'm talking to her. And I look up, and her car's in front of mine. I go, are you in front of me right now? And she goes, what? She turns around, she goes, let's go get coffee. I said, I got a client to train right now, but let's get together later. And so it's really miraculous how the Lord restored our marriage, but we ended up deciding to have our relationship in secret without her family knowing, and got married in secret too. It was like Braveheart. couldn't do it any other way because the enemy was, destroying us. And that was another thing too, is, getting married. We refrained from any sexual immorality, but there was times where we failed at that, and we were like, we got to get married. So that gave the enemy power to work too. So you always want to stay faithful in that area of life, because it says don't give the devil a foothold. So, and if you really find that woman in your dreams and you love her, you should marry her, because you're only going to be able to resist so long. So, but anyways, so God brought that back. Somebody random told me, hey, I got a place where you can put your supplements. At the time I had a supplement line, little storefront, $500 a month. So I got my own place and started selling supplements and started doing a little personal training. Started the first faith weights and protein shakes. So now God had given me a place where I could speak freely about Him and nobody could fire me. So, well, I was tested with that many, many times. At LA Fitness, when I worked there, I had a couple different managers. One tell me, you keep talking about that, we're going to have to let you go. We keep talking about it. And then he got fired. And then the next manager told me the same thing. Keep talking about it, we're going to have to let you go. Felt a little more confident. He got fired. And then eventually when I got to Choose Fitness, different gym I'm working at, the management team did fire me. So the Lord was like, how far are you willing to go? He will test you. And, everybody says, oh, I'll lay down my life for the Lord. But if you won't even lay down your job, then, so we're in training. We got to exercise these things now. So anyways, the Lord restored everything. In the car, halfway a blessing, halfway I had to work for, but the Lord restored it all. And, I just felt led to give you guys that testimony just because, there's so many times where we're tempted to quit or feel victimized or, oh man, the world's against me and this is too much, I can't do it. And, if God could save me, he can get you through anything. And, He does give His toughest battles to His strongest soldiers. And
that's right.
The cost is high, but the reward is great. So, if you just persevere through whatever it is you're going through, you're going to have an even greater reward. I didn't have any idea that what God had in store for me. Now we have a 25,000 square foot location, the second location 1,000 square feet, and it's just amazing to see what He's done. And now I'm a pro natural bodybuilder, and I won my first bodybuilding show while still taking the bus. And like I said, I didn't make excuses. And He says, if you're faithful with little, I'll make you faithful with much. So that's been a life first for me. When I started the first faith weights, all I had was a rickety old weight bench. Started training people on that. Took the money, bought the next piece of equipment, so faithful with little, I'll make you faithful with much.
That's right.
Yeah, so we can't despise small beginnings. And yes, the mustard seed is the smallest of seeds, but when it's planted, it grows to be the largest of plants. And God is so faithful. He's never failed me, and even I failed Him quite a few times. So His grace is great, but I don't ever want to take advantage of that. And tread on His grace and on His blood and His sacrifice and everything He's done for us. I don't really like to prepare sermons either, just because I believe, God has something to say to you guys, not me. I'm just a vessel, and He says, I'll give you a mouth and wisdom which none of your adversaries will gainsay nor resist. And that we should be prepared in season and out of season to give a testimony about Jesus. Every day is a testimony.
That's right.
Every day's a testimony, and we're to be living sacrifices, right? Holy and acceptable. This is your spiritual act of worship. A lot of people don't understand that. It's just a Sunday thing, or it's a life surrendered. We were bought at a price with the precious blood of Jesus. Our life is not our own. It's not. So every day should have some type of testimony. Every day.